The lookup functions VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP are very often used in building financial models and are often the go-to function for many modelers and analysts. The VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions have been superseded by the new XLOOKUP function available in Excel on Microsoft 365. Although XLOOKUP is superior to its predecessors, I'll still take you through how to use VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions in case some people who still need to use your model aren't on Microsoft 365. Despite its popularity, the humble VLOOKUP is often misused and overused because of, its many users, especially when they're just starting out. Many don't understand precisely how it works. VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup. It can be used anytime that you have a list with data and a unique lookup field in the leftmost column. The VLOOKUP function searches through a data set and returns a corresponding match for a specified row and column. HLOOKUP works exactly the same way, except with a list of values that is horizontally oriented instead of vertically oriented. Mapping data with VLOOKUP. In this worksheet, we have a list of sales in regions. Let's say that you want to abbreviate the region names from Northwest to NW because that's what your team is used to seeing. Let's go ahead and click on cell G2 and start to enter the abbreviations for each region. This is a map table you use to map the regions and their abbreviated names. If you're using Excel 2013 or later, Flash Fill will begin to automatically populate the data for you. Very cool. Step 2. Select cell C2 and then click the Insert Function command on the Formulas tab, or just press Shift plus F3. Great! In the Select a Function box, as a category, select All and scroll down until you see VLOOKUP function. Here it is. Select VLOOKUP and click OK. 4. The first parameter in the criterion you're testing, in this case, the first region you needed the abbreviation for, Northeast. So enter B2 into the lookup_value field. The following field is a table array, which contains the data that you want to reference. This is where it gets tricky. The criteria that you're looking for must always be in the far left column of the data table that you're referencing in the table array. In the table array field, enter F2 to G5, because in this case, the data that you're referencing will be in that range. Press F4 shortcut key to lock the cell reference. In the column index number field, you will need to enter which column the value is found in. You need to tell the function which column the table array you want to return. In this case, you want to tell it the abbreviation for that region. So by counting from the far left side of the table array, starting in column F, you want it to return to the second column. So enter number 2 in the column index number field. The optional fourth range, range_lookup, is where you specify whether a close match is okay. If you want an exact match, enter 0 in the range lookup field, otherwise leave it blank. You may also enter true or false, but typing a 0 or leaving it blank is quicker. Make sure to enter a 0 or false in the last field. If you leave it blank, it will search for a close match and return an incorrect result. There are very few instances where you want a close match. You're done. Click OK to complete the formula. The returned result is NE. Now I'm going to copy cell C2 all the way down this column. If you go to the mapping table and adjust the abbreviated names, for example, change NE to N/E, you'll notice that column C abbreviations also change automatically. In this way, you can save time in building your reports. Using the HLOOKUP function. The HLOOKUP function works exactly the same way as the VLOOKUP function, except that the data values are arranged horizontally instead of vertically. If your source data range is oriented vertically, use VLOOKUP. If it's oriented horizontally, use HLOOKUP. Breaking a VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. If you've created a VLOOKUP function in a model such as the one in the preceding lecture, this should work well, until someone enters or deletes a column in your source data. A formula such as the following specifically asks for a second column, so it won't work if someone inserts a column range within the region's range. It won't work because your required column becomes the third column, but the VLOOKUP function is still asking for the second. You'll get the same problem with an HLOOKUP function, except when adding a row instead of a column. VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP are very robust formulas. You can see how easy they are to break. Here's what I do to usually avoid this problem and make my formula more robust. Use an HLOOKUP instead, or replace the hard-coded number 2 with a dynamic function such as a column or a match function that will automatically update. Using the XLOOKUP function. XLOOKUP is only available for Microsoft 365 users. Now, how I can use an XLOOKUP function to solve the problem shown earlier. Let's select cell C2. Click on the Insert Function command on the Formulas tab, or just press Shift plus F3. From this dialog box, scroll down until you see the XLOOKUP function. Select XLOOKUP and click OK. The first parameter is the criterion you're testing. In this case, the first region that you need an abbreviation for, Northeast. So enter B2 in the lookup value field. The following field is the lookup array, which contains the data that you want to reference. Instead of selecting the entire array as you did before, this time only select the column that contains the data that you want to look up. In the lookup array field, enter F2 to F5, because in this case, the data that you're referencing will be in that range. Don't forget to press F4 shortcut key to lock the cell reference. Next up, in the return array field, enter G2 to G5 and press F4 again to lock the reference range. Leave the last two fields blank unless you want to specify the value to show the function can't find a value. If you don't want the error value NA to show in the function and you can't find a value, you can add a value such as n/a into the if not found field inside quotes. Now, this is optional. The formula will work fine if you leave this field blank, so click OK to complete the formula. So from there, we'll copy cell C2 down the column. Nice! Now test the formula by inserting a column between F and G. Note that the formula doesn't break when a column is inserted between the two reference ranges. In the next lesson, we're going to learn the powerful offset function.